everybody, it's Paige Evans. Thanks for joining me today. I have a new process video to share with you featuring a bunch of different techniques. I've got some folded hearts to create layered flowers, some modeling paste through a stencil, and mixed media. So I'm just having fun playing around. I grabbed my Horizon collection with pink paisley, which came out in the summer of it was January of 2019, so just over a year ago, and I love the bright colors, and I was just feeling in the mood to work with it, so I grabbed some scrap papers and my largest heart punch, and I punched a heart from all of the pattern papers, and then cut this paper up into the individual squares and triangles of patterns and continued cutting large or punching large hearts from those patterns. And I cut dozens. I keep saying cut, I mean punched. I punched dozens of hearts. Each flower needs 7 hearts. So depending on how many flowers you want to create, 7 hearts for each flower. And I was going to create smaller flowers as well, so that's why I grabbed this heart confetti punch and continued punching hearts again from all of the pattern papers. In the end, I didn't use any of those smaller hearts, but just in case you want to, you can create smaller flowers by using smaller heart punches. And the next step is to fold all of the hearts in half, and these create the heart petals. So here I am, I folded all of the larger hearts in half, and I'm continuing folding the smaller hearts in half, even though I didn't end up using those. And then I grabbed this circles punch, and I punched it from scrap white cardstock. I covered it with liquid adhesive, and now I'm placing 7 petals onto the circle, and it's important to have the crease facing the same direction. So the crease is on the right side of all 7 petals, and you can rotate having the crease on the right side or the left side, and that way the flowers will look beautiful from every angle that you look at this layout. So I grabbed this pattern paper from Horizon. I want to use it to build the flowers on it. I wanted to trim it in half, and then when I flipped it over, it already has the diagonal, so I didn't even need to use a pencil or ruler. I just trimmed along that diagonal line. So I'm just using a pair of scissors. Doesn't have to be perfect, and then using the paper trimmer to finish cutting these into triangles because I want to have flowers on 2 triangle sections. So if I were to divide a layout into 4 quadrants from corner to corner, I want the flowers to be on 2 sides. So here I'm placing the flowers, kind of getting an idea of how I want the placement, and I realized I needed to make a few more flowers, so I did go back and punch more hearts. Thought about adding in some of these smaller flowers that I made, but I decided to just use the larger ones. So I made a few more. I think I ended up with, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. So I ended up with 12 larger flowers total, and I am gluing them in place using the same super quick dry glue from American Crafts, and they are hanging off the edges a little bit. I want to trim off the excess with scissors, but I will do that momentarily. So just quickly adhering them down, trying to fill up as much space as possible on these pattern paper triangles. And then once they are glued down, let it dry for a couple minutes, and then flip it over and trim off the excess flowers. There's so many different possibilities for these flowers. This is just one way. I've had them cascading across a layout before. I've filled up an entire background. So just once you make the flowers, they are pretty addicting to make. I love using as many pattern papers as possible and creating fun, different designs with them. So I'm almost done trimming off the excess. I don't want to flip them over until I've got my desk clean again and then flip them over for the big reveal. So ta-da! Awesome. So I've got my 2 triangles, and now I want to figure out what I'm going to put them on. So I'm going to use a piece of white textured cardstock from American Crafts and adhere the triangles in place using super sticky double-sided tape. and I was having issues peeling off the red double-sided backing, so I just turned off the camera and peeled those off. I was getting a little frustrated. I'm a very patient person when it comes to scrapbooking, but then the little things like I can't peel off the backing drive me crazy. But anyway, finally got the backing off, and I'm putting the triangles in place. This photo of my daughter Jane perfectly matches. We'll get to that in a minute. So I created this stencil. I wanted some texture on the white parts of the background to just make it stand out a little bit more. So I just quickly designed this daisies cut file in a triangle shape, and you can find it in my Etsy shop. I'm scraping white modeling paste through, and this just gives it a little something extra in these sections. So we've got a floral theme going on, so having these textured flowers just gives it a little something extra. So this stencil, I have 2 sets of the daisies on the corners so that I didn't have to scrape modeling paste through an already used section. So you'll see if you grab it from my Etsy shop, it's got 2 corners of daisies for this purpose of adding modeling paste. So then continuing with mixed media, I'm grabbing white acrylic paint and a toothbrush, watering down the white acrylic paint and splashing it on, spritzing it on with the toothbrush, and then grabbing my favorite watercolor set, Pastels by Prima, and splashing some matching colored watercolors on top. And it's okay that it gets on the pattern paper flowers. It mostly gets covered up by the photo right there in the middle. So I added pinks and yellow and mints and blues. I think this is the last color. Let it dry, and then I added the photo. So the colors in that photo, perfect for this layout. They all go together. Grabbing the thickers from Horizon to create the title, which is Voodoo Donut, and then to attach them in place permanently, I ran it through my sewing machine, and then I wrote journaling across the opposite side, and that's the finished layout. So this layout took a little bit of time, especially to make those flowers, but in the end, I love how it turned out, and I hope you learned a few new techniques to try on your next layouts. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you again soon. Have a great day.